Welcome to Bud's Beer Blurb, the podcast. You can catch all of our episodes on our YouTube channel. Just search at Bud's Beer Blurb and we'll pop right up. Oh, and do me a favor. Would you hit that subscribe button while you're there, please? Thank you very much. We can also be heard on rss.com, and they have a list of other podcast sites that we're on. Just pick the one you like best. You can find us on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. Just do that whole search at Bud's Beer Blurb again. And be sure to give us a follow while you're there. Alright, let's get to the show. On this episode, Rob the Brewer, Justin Salley, and Caius Mergy.
Greetings, everyone, and welcome to episode 28 of the podcast. Before I get started with the conversation, I need to be honest with you about something right up front. This episode was an editing nightmare. I've been experimenting with a popular AI-based recording app. It's supposed to handle all the editing for you, in theory. In reality, not so much. The app recorded each person's audio separately, which it's designed to do, but it recorded everything completely out of sync. On top of that, it captured 4 separate video files, one for each person. So yes, that's 4 videos that needed to be edited. First, every single word that anyone said played back 4 times. It sounded like a 1980s horror movie echo chamber. Listen to this.
So we have a good special. We have a very special episode for you today. I have 3 gentlemen here.
So now you can hear what I was dealing with. Fixing that alone took hours, days. And then came the fun part. Syncing everyone's audio to their video. And then syncing all 4 videos together. That process took weeks. So what you're about to hear is the result of a lot of time, patience, and pure ADHD stubbornness. I hope that you will find this episode worth the wait, especially because I'm joined by 3 absolutely incredible guests. It took months to finally bring this together and create a segment that I like to call 3 Young Brewers Walk Into a Bar. But wait, there's more. Because this whole situation happened, it backed me up on everything. I fell behind on a couple of other podcast segments that I had already recorded. 2 very special on-location visits. First, I spent time with Corey Fusick of Core Creations, touring her workshop in Tallinn, Connecticut. She creates bourbon-themed art pieces like lamps, beer and bourbon flight trays, coasters, and some seriously impressive custom work. Next, I visited my buddy Bo Williams at No Coast Taqueria in Ellington, Connecticut, where I sampled his brand new Sunday brunch. Yes, Sunday brunch at a Mexican fusion restaurant, and it was fantastic. Those 2 segments will be combined into episode 29, which will be released on the heels of this one. And I owe a big apology to everyone involved in these projects and how long it took to get them out. So my apologies. I am very sorry. And trust me, there's even more to the story behind these delays, but I'll save that for the next episode. For now, let's get to it. Here is 3 Young Brewers Walking Through a Bar.
So we have a good special. We have a very special episode for you today. I have 3 gentlemen here who are part of the Connecticut brew scene. They each represent a different brewery. And I'm going to introduce from my left to my right, I have, Rob, who is from Dudleytown Brewing, and that's in Windsor, Connecticut. And Rob has studied many different areas of the world, I believe, but we're going to get into the details of that. He works at Dudleytown. He was part of bringing that thing to life, and he is the head brewer there. Next, I have Caius from Caius Farm Brewery in Brantford. This gentleman was studying ancient Rome, and then he started brewing in a different style, I believe, but we'll let him talk about that. And he also took home the World Beer Silver Medal recently. That's impressive. And then I have Justin, who's been here before, He is from Falls Hope Brewing and also works at the 12% Project as the head brewer there. That is quite an accomplishment if you know anything about the 12% Project. So, gentlemen, terrible introduction, I'm sorry, but thank you very much for coming here. I appreciate your time. I'd like to mention that we are right now all sipping on some Bad Sons beer, Double Dubious. This was given to us by Mark, who is the owner of Bad Sons. And Mark, thank you very much. We appreciate it. It's very tasty. So, each of you have brought some beers, correct?
Yeah.
If we could, maybe we could crack one open. We'll talk about the beer itself, and then we'll start talking about the brewery. What I want to do is have one of you bring up a beer. We will crack it open, and then that person I'm going to talk to for a few minutes. You with me?
Yeah.
Sounds good.
Okay.
Sounds good.
Then let's get started. All right, first up is Rob. He has brought us what?
So I brought Soothsayer, which is our house light lager that we do. So technically a rice lager, so made with the adjunct just flaked rice in the mash.
Mm-hmm.
Dry, crisp. It's 4.8%. It's got a little bit of like a bready, almost like toasty cracker taste to it, but you still get that like dry crispness that you like from a lager. It's one of our more popular ones in the tap room. We do a lot of different lagers too. This is just the one that I had cans of today. So
okay. Well, it's welcomed.
It's a big fan of mine for this one, but
okay.
Yeah. Super simple, easy, Pilsner malt, rice.
Let's give it a taste.
That's really crisp.
Thank you.
Oh my God, that is crisp. That's delicious. How long has this one been out? I mean...
So I think the first time we brewed that one was probably about 6 months ago. So we had an American corn lager that we were doing, and we wanted to change it up to kind of feed more of the people who come in who are like, I only drink Bud Light, Miller Lite, Coors Light. So we did something that was a little more similar to one of those macros, and it's been a huge success for us. So we pretty much, we got a 30-barrel batch of that one coming out almost every 2 to 3 weeks, especially now that we're having that one out in distribution.
So you've been on the podcast before because you're on actually one of the very first episodes we did, and we were at Dudleytown. And you told me a little bit about your background, but it was something like a snippet of a big conversation. Yeah. Tell me how you got into brewing, please. I mean, and then where did you go to school? Because I know you have some formal training in this.
No, so I don't have any formal training, actually. When I was 19, I actually lived in New Zealand. I was there for a year and a half, and on the weekends there, I would volunteer at breweries because, I was 19, I could legally drink, and I was excited about alcohol. And,
right?
You know how that old story goes. And so, I would volunteer with breweries there. I did a little bit of no paid farm work, but I was just helping out with some hop farms, just talking to people. And I was interested in the industry. So then when I came back, I was, a few months shy of 21, started looking for jobs in the brewing industry, kind of worked at various different breweries in the Midwest, worked my way up, eventually got my first head brewer job in Ohio. And then from there, I kind of bounced around a little bit, but a good friend of mine is a brewing consultant. So he goes all over the world, all over the U.S., and helps breweries that are closing, that, need some help, or ones that are opening, that are trying to figure things out. And so after I was kind of like, I want to travel again, I want to see some more stuff, I started kind of going to places that he had already helped out and helped them for like a further few months. So I got to jump around with that, which was a lot of fun. And then from there, he was actually helping Dudleytown, choose their equipment, kind of set up their space, because 2 of our owners were homebrewers, but they had never done any commercial brewing.
Okay.
And so they had brought in some outside help. He basically called me and was like, hey, I know you're not really looking for a head brewer job, but these guys are offering an equity piece. And
nice.
I couldn't really say no to that.
Right.
I was living in Colorado at the time, and skied a lot, which was really nice.
No,
but made the move over here with like 3 weeks notice and been here ever since.
Wow. And no regrets.
No regrets.
I mean, that Dudleytown is always hopping. It's busy.
We have such an interesting space because like our tap room is large, which is not typical for a sort of a startup brand. You know, Daryl and John, when they were coming up with the idea for this space, they really took their time with it. I mean, from idea to actual tap room was about 6 years, and then bringing on some other ownership to help with funding and things like that really allowed us to put a space together that was cool and people want to go to. We have sort of a good built-in audience too with like what's right around us. Even now with the addition of our restaurant, we're seeing a huge uptick in our taproom sales because people in our town don't really have a ton to do, and so they're finding out that we have a nice space that has good food, good beer. We also serve liquor in our space, which is a little atypical from a traditional brewery. And yeah, everything has been very good. You know, we ripped open Distro a few months ago, and it's been great. You know, we were able to add more production capacity, adding more fermenters, brights, things like that pretty here recently. And right now we're just trying to keep up, which is great. I've been able to add more people to my team.
That's awesome. You know, Dudleytown is based off of like a little eerie story about the town in Connecticut called Dudleytown, and it's supposedly haunted and, you know, fairy tales like that. But you have that eerie theme, and you came out with the post-mortem, yeah, I'm saying that right, post-mortem series. What is that?
So this was an idea that I had talked to a few people about. If you're familiar with the brand Mortalis, they have something similar that they call 8-Bit, and then Ill Will, which is out of Ohio, they have something that's called Antiquities. And so actually the idea kind of came from Untapped. They had talked to us about it, about kind of having this split sort of subsidy. So the idea with any of the beers under the postmortem branding is that they are traditional as traditional can be. So, you know, we match the water profile of where that may have been brewed before. So, you know, if we're brewing a dry Irish stout, we're trying to match Dublin's water profile. And then we're also trying to source ingredients that wouldn't regularly be used in, you know, American versions of these beers. And so we're hunting down fun little grains. We're talking with, you know, different suppliers and things in different countries and trying to be able to do some recreations. So it's a little bit of a departure from what we do under our normal umbrella, because our normal umbrella is the stuff that is really popular now: hazy IPAs, smoothie ales, sour beer, things like that. So we try to have just a little bit of separation in that to, you know, give our customers something to be excited about, to look out for.
Well, you have Berry Bones, and I really like that one. I'm not a big sour guy, but I like that one. The first time I had it was when we were at Carbone's, and then I had it again at the Brewfest, and after that I was like, you know, I'm probably going to go out and buy this, because I really like it. I really do. But out of the Postmortem series, which one do you think is the biggest seller?
You know, it's funny. The biggest seller right now is probably the Czech Pale Lager that we have. So it's a 3.5% Czech Pale Lager. We do it on a Lucre side pull. It's probably tied for me with what's my favorite from that series has been, because we do also do a dry Irish Nitro Stout, and I love Guinness. So it's essentially a Guinness. I mean, it's very, very light. It's 4.1%. Getting to do a nitro was a lot of fun because it was something that we hadn't done in our space before. So setting that up with the guys was a good time. But it's just we don't throw too much at that brand, but we try to throw something at it every month or so. We're gonna work on some like really traditional American IPAs for it next. Is kind of the idea that we're thinking.
Just keep it basic, and because American IPAs are, you know, they're just solid.
Yeah, and we do a ton of like overly adjunct heavy, over hopped hazy IPAs, and like people love them, and you know they are a very cool thing that has come out of this side of the country, and so you know we do push a lot of those, but my heart is with like West Coast IPA. So
I've heard Rob say this so many times. It's hilarious. And yet you made Open Portals.
yes.
And it's actually one of my favorite beers. It really is.
Oh, well, thank you.
I love that beer. I've purchased it off the shelf so many times. And I've had people bring it over. Hey, have you tasted this? Yeah, I'll tell you all about it if you want me to. I love that one. But so every brewer, last question. Every brewer has that one beer that taught them a lesson. Do you have that one beer that just taught you something new?
I mean, honestly, I would actually have to probably go with the smoothie ales that we're working on right now, because it is just such a departure from what you traditionally would think of when you make a beer.
Right.
There, it is something that, talking with some of our, like, constituents or whatever you want to say,
Mhm.
was something that we don't typically do, because you brought up Buried Bones. I tend to make sours that they're heavily fruited, but they're crystal clear. They feel light. They are easy drinking in the sense that, like, you could grab one, you could have another. It's refreshing. It's not like this overly saturated, full feeling drink.
Mhm.
And so, when Daryl had brought some home from Ohio from that Ill Will brewery that I had mentioned earlier,
Mhm.
they are doing some of the most heavily fruited smoothie ales in the country.
Yeah.
And he brought some home and he was like, "Can we do this?" And I was like, "Yeah, we can, but just so you know, it's going to be something."
Yeah.
And so for that, the base beer for that is 12%.
Okay.
And
Wow.
then we put enough fruit in it that it becomes 5%.
Wow. Oh, that's a lot of fruit.
It is absurdity in the highest form,
Mhm.
but they are cool though. I mean, it comes out. This is like, it really is a beer for people who do not drink beer. Like, we actually don't even carbonate it. One, because it's so thick, it probably wouldn't take the carbonation.
Right.
But we don't carbonate it. We just get a tiny, tiny bit of carbonation in there to basically keep it fresh.
Mhm.
But it's thick. It tastes like a pina colada, and we sell a lot of it in the tap room. And so we're working on a few more.
Beautiful. Okay. Well, it taught you a few things, that's for sure.
Taught me many things, mostly
right.
how to clean up after it. But
Yeah,
All right.
So you're speaking of carbonation. Ours, it takes like quadruple the amount of time to get that thing carbonated compared to like a normal beer.
I believe it. All right. So let's move on to you, Caius. What did you bring for us today?
So I brought a couple things. I brought a Pilsner, which showcases my favorite German hop, Hallertau Mittelfrüh. But then I also brought still bottle conditioning, ancient Etruscan style mixed firm.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't have a name yet. I don't know what the name is.
Oh,
I'm
geez.
still
Okay.
trying to figure out what it is. Our label artist, my sister, keeps asking me, "Hey, when are you going to get me this label? Because we're releasing it soon." I'm like, I really do not know.
Okay.
So in ancient Italy, the Etruscans drank beer.
Mm-hmm.
We have a lot of pottery evidence of this. They actually have some of the first evidence of hop usage
Mm-hmm.
in beer. So the beer would have traditionally been made with local grain. Rye and spelt were the most common,
Mhm.
and it would have been flavored with honey and other ingredients like pomegranates, dates, and all of that. My version, I just did a decoction mash of Connecticut rye, Connecticut spelt, and I added a lot of raw unpasteurized honey from Stonewall Apiary.
Nice, though.
Came up for the fermentables. It's about 40% of the fermentables just come from the honey itself.
Wow.
And we didn't add yeast to this beer. We added the honey raw, unpasteurized, directly into the foeder.
Wow.
And didn't know if it would start fermenting. Within a few days, it was ripping through fermentation. So we just kind
That's
of let
cool.
whatever wild microbes were in the
Right.
Connecticut honey to basically give us like a controlled, spontaneous type fermentation.
That's crazy. All right. Well, that sounds like the one we need to try.
This beer was the third beer that we ever brewed.
Really? Third.
The third, yeah. It was aged in the foeder for about 28 months.
Now, you opened in 2023, correct?
Yes.
Same time that Dudleytown opened.
Yeah, I think we opened like 6 months before they opened. I know that our contractor is the same contractor that built out their space too.
Central Mechanical?
No, Sunstone.
Oh, okay.
Construction,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Okie.
Yeah, 28 months. It's 8.5%. So, and we actually do have evidence that the Etruscan beer, just based on like residue, that it would have been in the high 8s, 9%
Wow.
back then.
Okay, so while we're all taking a sip, tell me about the farm. The farm itself. How big is it?
So we just have a small orchard. We have some blueberry bushes, raspberry, blackberry, some dessert pear trees, and we have a couple of different hop vines too that are still coming to maturity. So we haven't been able to use any in like a fresh wet hop beer yet. But
Okay.
our goal, hopefully, for next summer is to be able to do that.
But I mean, how many buildings are on this property?
Oh, just the one.
Yeah.
It's just our one main tap room and brewery.
Okay, and is it something you built or did you acquire it?
So we bought the land. We had to we tore everything down. It used to be a historical farm in Brantford.
Okay.
From I think the late 1800s, early 1900s.
Wow.
It was a chicken farm and then went out of business and was in just complete disrepair. Everything was falling down.
But I bet your grass is really green, isn't it? I used to have chickens in my backyard. My backyard is like this lush lawn, and my front yard is like weeds, you know? But that chicken stuff. But anyway.
But yeah, so we tore everything down, started fresh.
Wow.
Built out a new tap room and brewery. That's about, I think, 6,500 square feet total.
Okay.
And about half of that is the production space, and the other half of that is for tap room.
I know I need to get out there because I haven't been to your brewery yet. I haven't been to 12% in years, but I haven't been there yet. And then you and I met at Pink Boots,
Yeah, the Pink Boots.
which was right outside of Dudleytown that time, wasn't it?
If it was this past year, yes.
Yeah. Okay. That's where we met, and I remember being like, "Oh, wait, you're Caius," because I had no idea about your brewery other than I heard it had a great reputation, and of course now I know why. This is delicious, dude.
Thank you.
This is incredible.
This is my kind of sour beer.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's beautiful.
thank you. Yeah,
So-
there's a lot of time. And I was telling the guys here, so we naturally carbonate within the bottle for all of our mixed fermentation beer. And this one, I've never done such a high ABV mixed fermentation before. So I prepped all the yeast, got the sugar in, and for like 3 months, this beer sat not carbonated.
Wow.
So I was just kind of panicking every week. I'd be opening up a bottle, and everyone's like, "You have to stop checking the beer. It'll work out." And then finally one day, I waited like 2 months, and then I just opened one bottle, and I heard the hiss, and I'm like, "Thank God!"
Right? It's a beautiful sound when you
Thank
crack
God.
that open.
And it reminded me back of my home brewing days of like, is this going to carbonate in the bottle? I don't know if I did it right.
So you studied ancient Rome? Where did you do that, and why?
So I was just really passionate about Latin in high school,
Okay.
since my high school required Latin, since I went to a private school. So in undergrad, I did ancient Greek and ancient Latin as my focus.
And where was that?
Middlebury College
Okay.
in Vermont, and
Okay.
that's actually where I got exposed to beer. I didn't like beer.
Wait, you got exposed to beer in college? Nobody ever gonna say that. No.
Was having a really rough week, and my friend brought me to Hill Farmstead.
Okay.
I did not like beer
Okay.
at the time, so I was just a little skeptical. Had one of their mixed ferms, the Flora Peaches and Pears, took one sip and was just like a light bulb went off in my head.
Wow.
I was like, I need to know how this is done. How can beer taste like this? I'm like used to the Keystone Light that
Yeah.
that it was very popular at Middlebury, but
Yeah.
by then I had already gotten accepted to do my master's in archaeology at Oxford in the UK.
Oh wow. Oh
So,
wow.
I-
Okay.
So I went over there and I told myself I didn't really like it there, and I'm like, I'm gonna finish this out just to do it. But
Yeah.
if I still feel the same way at the end, I'm gonna go to brew school.
Okay.
So
So you went from from Oxford to brew school. Where was brew school?
Chicago and Munich.
That's a lot different.
Yeah,
So you were home brewing though, you said.
I was homebrewing during this time. Yeah.
Okay. And what was your go-to brew that you were making back then?
A bit of everything. I was just trying as much as possible. I didn't even. A lot of people start with like extract kits or like the pre-made kits. I went all in on just getting a cooler and doing the all grain. I was just like, I'm going heads
Yep.
head first.
That's cool.
Gonna try to just read many brewing books as I can. Read articles, listen to podcasts. Like, really was just
Headlong.
yeah. I was
Yeah.
obsessed.
So
Still obsessed.
somehow you connected your studies of Rome with your beers, though. Tell me
Yeah.
about that.
So I still have a passion for ancient history, and still like will listen to podcasts, read books, watch YouTube videos on it. So I really wanted to incorporate that, and I always kind of liked like getting into the beer scene with like Hill Farmstead Treehouse with like more the one word simple. Like I know some of the names of my beer is not simple.
No,
per
they're
se,
not.
but like just like the one word like names of beers really kind of stuck with me as a brand. So I'm like, you know what, like let's just name them after people in ancient history, and then I can like in the label just include a little bit of who they were, kind of bring to light some of these people that no one even knows about.
Are you like matching certain styles of beers to certain philosophers of ancient Rome or anything like that? Or
No,
does the name come first, or does the brew come first?
It's usually the beer comes first,
Okay.
and then the name follows. It's usually what I think that person would like to drink.
Okay. Oh, I know that Euripides, you know.
Just that's my own thing. Like so for Cleopatra, that's like our most popular beer. It's a New Zealand IPA. It's all New Zealand hops. And at the time, homebrewing, when I got my hands on some like homebrew packets of Nectaron, it was like quadruple the price of being able to get the homebrew packets of like Citra or Mosaic. And I'm like, you know what? Like Egypt was known for its wealth, and Cleopatra is very well known. Like this is an expensive beer, so like let's call it Cleopatra for fun.
Okay, Caius, I'm noticing something. I'm looking at Rob's glass, and his is like crystal clear. And then I look at Justin's, and his is a little bit cloudy. And then I look at mine, who I got the last of the beer. It's like cloudy.
Yeah, so because we naturally carbonate in the bottle, there's always a bit of sediment that goes to the bottom.
I got it.
Here, if you wanted,
No,
there's some
God.
fresh here. But yeah,
Oh, you opened a second bottle of it?
yeah,
I would argue that's the tastiest part.
yeah. That,
You don't have to argue, brother. I'm pretty sure it is. This is
yeah,
this is
usually when I
fantastic.
drink them at home,
is
I
so
like
good.
to pour like 90% of the bottle off, and then in a small taster glass, mix up that sediment and pour it in its own, because it will have a very different mouthfeel, texture, flavor compared to everything else.
That's crazy good. That is really, really good. So, what's the future of Caius Farms?
Just trying to keep up. I know Rob also said that they're having that problem too. We just got new tanks installed over the summer, and we're already back at max capacity again. I'm like,
Oh, wow.
okay, this'll last me like a year. Like, tried
That's
to plan it out, and I'm already like, oh god, can't keep up.
What a shame that you have too much business. Is that what you're saying?
It's a problem, but it's a good problem.
Yes. All right. Well, we're going to be talking about that a little bit later
But
on.
I think like going forward, I'm kind of really trying to focus on a lot of the barrel aging program here.
Yep.
Like I know that you mentioned about the World Beer Cup silver, and that was for our bourbon barrel aged stout, and that just kind of got us like, because that was a more limited thing. We had one stack of barrels at the time where that beer came from, and now in the last year I have like 5 stacks of barrels, so I've been really just diving headfirst in on this
Nice.
barrel program. But long days for those brews. They're usually like 22 to 24 hour days.
Wow. Yeah. Wow. It's a lot of work. A lot of work. You know, people who they don't realize it when they go visit a brewery, just how much work went behind that beer they're drinking.
Yeah, you're mostly a janitor.
Yeah.
And when people ask me,
Well, at
what's
one
it like
point, yeah.
being a professional brewer, I'm like, I clean things. I clean things and pick things up. Like,
Glorified janitor.
yeah.
It's funny too, because the story I always say about Dudleytown is I was at one of their festivals, and I saw James walking by, and he was pushing a mop in a mop bucket. He's just walking along, and I was hanging out with the brew heads, and I was like, oh wow, they hired a janitor, and one of the brew heads looks at me and says, "That's James. He's the money." I was like, "Oh, I'm sorry," But yeah, you guys are always cleaning and purifying and disinfecting and just busy. A lot of work behind these beers. So everybody, please appreciate what these guys are doing for you. But we're going to move on to Justin. We'll pull out a beer from you right after this.
Brewing beer takes a lot of work. Brewing great beer takes real talent. And a brewery with good time, good food, and some of the best beer around, well, that takes Bad Sons. Bad Sons Beer Company doesn't chase trends, they crush them. Bad Sons Beer Company, Derby, Connecticut.
Okay, we're back. Justin, you brought what for us?
Yeah, so I brought Threat Assessment. It's a brand new double IPA that we just made. It's hopped with Mosaic, Raquel, and Nelson.
And you got a little sample for us?
Oh, yeah.
I love Raquel. Is such an underrated hop.
I completely agree. I think it's so underrated, very underutilized.
Oh, you have 2 cans. I was going to say,
Yeah.
dude, wow, you just poured a big... Because I brought these I brought these little things
I
for
brought a
him,
whole
but no,
4-pack for you
he's
guys,
we're good.
so, yeah,
Whatever you guys want to
go
do.
for it.
Cheers.
I'll crack this one open.
Yeah, I feel like
Yep.
Raquel has just this nice like diesel and stone fruit note that just
Okay, here.
Yeah, it adds such great complexity to everything,
Nice.
too.
It's a great color as well, man.
Yeah, so I try and go super pale with everything.
So do I.
Yeah.
Ooh.
It's the
Yeah,
way.
that orangey,
I
like
things to be
I
orange.
I
still go for like orange.
okay, yeah. I mean, just it's a personal preference because I know it has no impact in like flavor. I think just visually,
Oh my
I
goodness.
prefer the super pale yellow.
That is powerful.
Yes, I use the freestyle hop keef.
Mhm.
I inject that into the bright tank as the beer is transferring, so that just gives it that extra pop and
Wow.
aroma. Yeah.
I just picked up a bunch of the freestyle hopkey. I'm really excited to use it.
Let's give it a taste.
Yeah, you can definitely get that hop keef on that or on the aroma. It just adds this like vibrancy.
Yep. That's
Okay.
one of the flavor
So-
descriptors right on the can.
It is super
Juicy,
vibrant, but it's also
vibrant.
like, it's also like really smooth. It's super nice, man.
Justin, when did False Hope? When was that born?
That was back in March of 24
Okay.
is when we released our first batch. Almost about 2 years ago now is when I pitched the concept to 12%, and they took us on, so we're brewing exclusively out of there.
Dude, I like your beers. I really do. I've had
you.
many of your beers now, and I really like each and every one of them.
Thank you.
I do love the IPAs.
Yep.
I tend to lean towards them for some reason, probably because the market's so saturated by them. You guys are a testament, amen.
Yeah.
But I do like them, and yeah, you've had quite a few that I've just wow, and this is
Thank you.
wowing me. This is really good.
Yeah, so it was all kind of born. I started brewing just with the dissatisfaction of the amount of variety in my local package store,
Yep.
and that's kind of what birthed False Hope as well. Everyone's making IPAs. I didn't think that there were enough great IPAs out
I hear
there,
you.
especially with the double and the triple. I felt like they were a little sloppy, a little unrefined. All throughout the industry. Sorry, not all throughout. I'm not trying to offend anyone.
Well, these guys, they
yeah.
they have different kinds of beers too. So.
Yeah, I just wanted to make my contribution.
Yeah.
I wanted to make IPAs that I wanted to drink.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I love a good double and a good triple.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's also why a lot of us get in the industry is that we want to make something like our version of something that we want to drink and
Yeah.
then share it with everyone.
I love lagers too, and that's really like in terms of drinking, that's my preference. But I didn't want to like swim upstream with my brand. It's like, okay, I got to make IPAs, I got to make doubles and triples and stuff like that. I'm gonna make the best, most expressive ones that I can.
Yeah, this one's great. It drinks so drinkable. For,
I was gonna say, what is it percentage wise?
8.3.
Yeah,
This
you
one
would-
finished a little low, so
I
it
like
might be
this.
like 8.5.
I was gonna say you would never know. Like
It's
Yeah, it's
beautiful.
really
You could've
drinkable
told me.
for 8.3.
Yeah.
you could have told me this
Thank
was like
you.
6, and I would have believed you.
And
Thank
for
you.
me, like
Very
at
good.
least like for the higher strength IPAs, I'm like the ones that like or can drink like they're like a 6%er. Like those are the ones that
Yeah.
like want me to go back for like another glass because it's that drinkability, because sometimes they can be way overly sweet. This one is so nicely balanced.
Thank you. Yeah, this is a lot of refinement. Even from our first batch of False Hope to this one, I'm tweaking every single batch. So to get it to this point, like, I'm very proud of it, and like it's awesome. Like, with brewers of your caliber to see that as well. So,
Well, hang on.
yeah.
Yeah, this is awesome.
Oh, go ahead.
You don't downplay yourself here, okay? 'Cause
Yeah.
You're balancing two worlds right now.
Yep.
You have your own brand, plus you're the head brewer of one of the biggest collabs in the country of 12%.
Yeah.
How do you do that without, crossing the line of melding the two together somehow?
Yeah, I mean, so I've learned a lot from brewing at 12%. Obviously I have access to everybody's recipes.
Mhm.
But I certainly am not. I would never rip anybody off. Integrity is a big
Absolutely.
thing for me.
Absolutely.
Me and the owner Alex have had long conversations about that. When I decided to start my brand, he said, "Well,
Make sure it's original.
yeah, right." So it had to be, and it always was going to be. I want to express myself through the beers. This is me in a can.
Right.
This is what I would like to drink.
Right. This isn't Fat Orange Cat. This
right.
This is False Hope.
Exactly. It's my own thing. I had to make it distinctly different, but I also wanted to.
So when you're brewing at 12%, and you're brewing all these other brands, how do you keep the consistency of their recipe?
There's a lot of back and forth.
That's what I imagine. Yeah,
A lot of emails.
gives you the opportunity to work with a lot of different brewers, I'm sure too.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. I think I've brewed over 100 different brands by now. I've been there for.
Can you imagine?
I mean, there's like not many people in the country that could say that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I got my start at actually work brewing at a contract brewery, and we didn't even get to that many. I probably did like 20, 30 different brands.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
I mean, I'd say at least half of our brewing is probably Fat Orange Cat right now. And we have a couple of our own, but just like the 5 years I've been there, it's been.
Scott Cross was once worked with Fat Orange Cat. He was one of the brewers there, and now he runs. He's a brewer at Rule 3, and it's interesting because I can taste somewhat the Fat Orange Cat experience. I don't know how else to put it. The influence, if you will, but yet at the same time, his beers are so much different. Like I told you guys, I had a trouble with triples as the first barrel in my kegerator here, and it was amazing. But I could almost see where that influence came in. So working with so many different brewers like this, I mean, I can't even fathom it, honestly. Like you said, 100 different brands.
Yeah.
Are any of these brewers or brands, anyone stand out? Anyone more notable than the other that you've worked with that you would, that you've admire in some way?
I like working with Chris from Eredita.
Oh wow! Okay.
Yeah, so he worked at Hill Farmstead for a while. I really like that he's very much doing his own thing too. His recipes, his procedures, everything like that. It's very much just his own. Not to say that it's better or worse than anybody else,
No,
but he's got his process dialed in. He pretty much had it dialed in from like day one, and so I really like that. I really like working with him. He has an amazing palate too.
That's awesome.
So I love talking beer.
All right, well,
with
shout
him,
out
too.
to Chris, right?
Yeah.
I was gonna say, like, between his the batch 1 and batch 2 of the same brand, it's extremely consistent.
Yeah.
Like the consistency for them, like I admire a brewery that has that consistency.
Yeah.
Definitely like has nailed that.
he's another one too, where he's constantly tweaking stuff. I mean, to the point of like 50 to 100 grams of gypsum from one lager batch to another. You know, not to say that the general public notices a difference, but he does, and
I go with that.
just,
So, like,
Right? Yeah.
with Cleopatra, our mainstay, I have 25 versions saved on my computer because
my God.
every time I make an edit, I save it as a new version.
Yeah.
Because I made my own like recipe builder on Excel, so I have just different I have like 25 sheets I go through. That way I can see. Because if I make a change, I want to, and I don't like it, or if I like it, I want to see exactly what compared to the last one. But
Right.
Yeah, like sometimes like I'll change it. I'm like, okay, 50 more grams of calcium chloride this batch, and that's all I'm changing. And everyone goes, why is that a new version? I'm like, because it might be different.
Well, it's so funny. I was just having this conversation with our chef because I'm like, you're so lucky that you get like immediate response to the shifts you're making. Whereas like if I make a shift in a recipe, I have to wait 2 to 3
Right, yeah.
weeks before I can even like decide if it made a difference.
Or even
There's
sometimes,
so many variables,
right,
too, where
and
it's
so you
like,
can only change one at a time. Yeah.
and like for our barrel aged stuff, like I've made those process tweaks are so slow because it's like can't taste that for a year. Don't know if this change is gonna work out. So like just cross my fingers and hope it works.
Wow. So, what's next for you? Any dream collabs that you would like to do, or
Yeah, so I think what's like I really do want to expand the portfolio. I've done
False Hope, obviously.
Yeah, for False Hope. Yeah, I've done a ton of IPAs, a ton of stouts, and I do those. I'm very proud of them. But they're big sellers. I'd love to. I'd love to show my breadth of brewing knowledge through False Hope as well, and I think that will come with time. My goal always was to build up the brand so that somebody sees a False Hope on the shelf, they're like, I trust that brand.
Yeah. No,
This is going to be a good beer.
Your brand, your labels are so dark.
Yeah.
Post-apocalyptic,
Yep.
But they're great.
Yep.
I love them. I
They're
really do.
dramatic.
Who's your artist?
Dave.
Dave?
Yeah.
Love that guy.
Great guy.
Yep. Dave Globerson. He is married to my cousin.
Oh, okay. Yes.
Yeah.
We did talk about that.
Yep.
That's right. Yep. Okay.
Yep.
All right. So,
Just real quick, is this Cosmic Punch by chance?
Nope.
No.
Nope. That's just L3.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It must be like the hopkeep or something. It's giving off such like great aroma that I'm like, this is beautiful.
yeah.
Like I'm like really stoked on how this beer smells.
Thank you.
Yeah, the aroma's beautiful. All right, so guys, we're going to move into some serious conversation now. I have a topic that I want to discuss with you, and I need you to get prepared for this one, okay? And we will bring that up right after this. So, guys, now we're going to go into some little more serious conversation. I want to talk about what's going on here in Connecticut. There's a lot of breweries that have closed, and there's a lot of breweries that are on the verge of closing. And I'm wondering what your perspective, what your take is on this. Why do you think there's so many closing? Is it the economy? Is it burnout? Because I know that happens a lot. Is it generational things? Because I know Gen Z, they're not really into drinking quite like, the millennials and Gen X. They're more a gummy kind of people. But what do you think is happening?
So at least the main thing I think is happening is just disposable income. Cost of living now is just so high in most places in the country that the disposable income, you don't have as much, and what you do have now, you're probably not going to be spending it on a $20 4-pack $25 4-pack anymore, or if you do, you're only going to go to one brand that you've been following for a while. You're not going to go to a new brewery and probably spend that much more money on that. Like, I know my friends, like, when they go out now, like, they only pretty much buy cans to go when they come visit me.
Wow, okay.
But if they go to a store now, that's why I think some of these macro places are doing really well. Because my friend who lives in Pittsburgh, he goes, yeah, when I go out and buy, like, to a liquor store, I'm just buying Yingling. He's like, I'm not going to my local favorite brewery to buy cans to go anymore. Like, I'll go have one beer because that's all I can afford, and I'm not going to bring anything home.
That's funny because I was recently talking to Mark at Bad Sons, and he was talking about his canning, and his opinion, and I'm going to kind of paraphrase, if you will, the canning aspect of what he does doesn't compare anywhere to his tap room. His tap room is where he makes his money. The canning is just like advertising. It's like a business card. And that's how he sees it. But you're saying something like the opposite of that almost.
Not necessarily. I just think that there's just the overall cost of ingredients. Like, I know as fellow brewers, you probably get hit with those price increases all the time. That, like, the cost of cans now is in general, I feel like the trend is constantly going up for the price of 4-packs to go from craft breweries. But the macro guys, since they're securing so many ingredients and everything, they're able to keep their costs a lot lower than a 10-barrel brewery. So that's why I think and with less disposable income that people have, just because the natural cost of living is just so outrageously high right now, that, like, let's say I normally, like 10 years ago, had an extra $200 a month that I could spend. This day and age, I think people, let's say, would have like 25. And are they going to spend that on beer to go?
I would.
I know, like, some of us would, but, like, some people might not. So I think a lot of it just purely is the economy shift. Like, people have to be saving their money in different ways, and beer right now, craft beer, is a luxury good. It's not like a necessary good to live and like sustain yourself and your family.
What's interesting about the three of you right now is that you do canning, Caius, for basically inside your brewery. You sell inside. You don't like do distro other than your kegs.
Yeah.
Whereas Dudleytown, you're doing canning, but I think your main income is probably the brewery itself. But you're kind of like doing both. Whereas, Justin, you rely on distro because you don't have a tap room.
Yeah.
Well, I know 12% has a tap room.
Falls Hope does not have a tap room. Yeah, so we rely 100% on distro. But 12% is its own distributor, too, which helps. So there are multiple income streams.
When you look around the state, certain breweries are thriving, okay? And, you guys know which ones are which, and there's certain ones that they're in trouble. What do you think is going on? Why do you think certain ones are thriving and certain ones are dying?
Well, I think there's a lot to it. I mean, all of the things that you had mentioned as well, people in this younger age bracket are doing different things. I mean, like, even just for us, I know that we do everything that we can to cater to every customer. So, we make a lot of different styles of beer, but even beyond that, we're making a lot of seltzer. Like, a lot of seltzer.
Yeah.
And,
us too. Like, the hard seltzer, like, on Oktoberfest was like our 5th highest selling product at Oktoberfest was our hard seltzer, which...
No kidding!
It's... A lot of people are going in on hard
It's
seltzer.
Oktoberfest, right?
Yeah. Well, and so even beyond that, I mean, like, our tap room, we have a full bar. I mean, it's not exactly how it was, 8 to 10 years ago, where people were going out and they're like, okay, I want to try your highest ABV IPA that you have. I mean, a lot of people are going out, and as Caius said, they are being more responsible drinkers. They're having one, if they're having one, or they're taking something home. I mean,
That's good.
You're right. It is very good.
Responsible is good.
Yeah. And, I mean, you had said, like, And you had said we do rely on our tap room, and we're lucky in the sense that we have a space big enough to allow us to do that. We're still just dipping our toes into distribution. We're still figuring out a lot and kind of seeing what our sales patterns are. We actually switched distributors at the 6-month period that you can in Connecticut.
Yeah, that happens a lot with breweries, though.
Yeah, and our first distributor was fantastic. It just, we had a different direction that we wanted to go in, and so our new distributor is truly doing a wonderful job. So we've been really happy with them, and we're seeing an increase in our sales. We're kind of trying to match that trend. I mean, when we first went out, we were just doing 2 IPAs and a sour. We're adding a lager to the lineup because there is more of a demand for it. I think, a beautiful thing that Caius is doing is he's doing a ton of lagers. And I have 3 or 4 on at any given moment, but I would like to have 16.
Sure.
But
if I could have a lot more lagering tanks to take up my whole tap room to just brew lager, that would be the dream, because lager is my favorite thing to brew and drink. But IPAs and smoothie sours are where the market is, and like, we're all in this industry. Like, a business has to make money to continue operating, so you have to play to those market trends.
Well, and I think too, I mean, that is part of it. I mean, understanding your customer base as well, and trying to say to yourself, like, I'm only going to make this style, and that's what we do, and it's hard and fast. I mean, you have to be adaptable. You have to understand that, like, your market's going to shift year to year. I mean, think of when
even
they're
seasonally, like, for us in the summer, lagers cannot keep up in the summer with lager, but in the winter, double IPAs, triple IPAs, stouts, everything in the winter season, that's what we pivot towards. And then in the winter, the lagers taper down a little bit, because everyone in the winter wants these, like, higher ABV stuff. They're stuck inside, they're cold. But in the summer, they want to have, like, a couple liters of like a Helles and not feel drunk.
Well, the holidays, everybody wants to just get drunk. Screw that. I don't want to deal with the holidays. Just give me something, get me lit. But okay, so let's say a brewery that is going to close. You could just see it. It's written on the wall. And you had the moment to sit down with the owner or the head brewer. What would you say to him? I know that's a hard question, isn't it? But
I think it's hard without a whole financial snapshot.
Sure.
I mean, I think that the first thing I would say is to be ready to change. Be ready to pivot and make something new work. I mean, there's so many places out there that started as one thing and are truly another thing now, and you have to be ready for that if you want to have staying power.
Yeah, and I think also a big thing right now, at least going to the staying power comment, is the variability in offerings too. Is if you do yourself operate your own tap room and have customers come into your location, you do have to have this huge variety now. Like, it can't just be, I'm a lager only brewery. There's a few breweries that can do it and do it very well, but I think it's more common now where you have to have a lot of options. You have to have an IPA for the IPA drinkers. You have to have a lager for someone who doesn't like IPAs.
Yeah.
You have to have a sour for the people who don't necessarily like the taste of beer, but like the fruitiness that come with those smoothie sours. Like, that's like, as you said, you have to be able to pivot and really do a lot of different things, which is also a challenge professionally. Being able to, let's say, like, you were trained your whole life in lager brewing, and you want to open your own spot, and you need all of a sudden brew a smoothie sour that can, like, really throw someone off in their game. So it definitely is a challenging time, like, both like operating the business and professionally being able to brew the styles.
I have a friend, and I love this guy, and he is about to open a brewery. And if you're watching this, I love you. But at the same time, someone who's about to open a brewery here in Connecticut, and, Justin, you deal with a lot of breweries. What would you tell someone, you're sitting them down and they're ready to go forward, what would you tell them right now?
Stay nimble. Don't try and swim upstream. Go along with the current trends.
Okay.
Make it your own. But if the market is telling you that a certain style is selling or a certain style is not selling, don't fight that. If your customers are demanding a
An IPA
certain
or,
style,
fruity something.
exactly. Just do it.
Mm-hmm.
Do it to the best of your ability.
Mm-hmm. This guy can brew beer too. Every time I've tasted one of his brews, it's good stuff.
Yeah, and going along with that, it's like, listen to the market trends. Like, definitely have options for the most popular things that are the most popular beers right now. But like, that doesn't mean you have to lose like what your passion is. Like you can still do, let's say you only want to do lagers. You can still have 3 lagers on tap, but if you have like a 12 tap list, have 4 to 5 IPAs probably. Like it's definitely one of those where you can still do what you want, but you have to be able to adapt and do something that the customer wants.
Yeah, put yourself in a position where like we do a ton of stuff at 12% that isn't exactly a crazy hit seller, but we'll do a smaller batch of that. We could do anything from.
But you guys also.
We can make small batches of certain styles that aren't huge sellers, but exactly will be popular with a small select few. So we can do anything from 20 to 90 barrels of a certain beer. So that's pretty much what I meant by like stay nimble. Do what you want. You can still make some beers that you love, but set yourself up that you can just make a small amount of something that might be a hit with your regulars, but if you're going out to distro, might not be your top seller.
Create your flagships, but make sure you have a variety for all likes and tastes.
For me, it's like the IPAs and sours I make, or like the beers that pay to allow me to do like the Etruscan beer that you guys tried today. Like,
that was good.
But it's not for everyone. Like, that's not for everyone. But like the IPAs are what allow me to be able to express that kind of creativity in the craft.
Well,
but it's doesn't mean you have to give everything up. It's just being adaptable.
Right. My little joke has always been 10 for them, 1 for me.
Yeah.
But and it's funny too, like to build off of what Justin had said about staying nimble. I mean, definitely do that because the first however long of a stretch you want to say, first 6 months or whatever that you're open, you're gonna completely change what you thought was gonna happen. You're never gonna scope it out correctly.
And the customer will always decide what your best sellers are.
Right.
Like you can I went in thinking like that when I did again, Cleopatra is like our best seller. I went in thinking, oh, this is this weird like New Zealand IPA. Like it's only a very niche market, and the customer basically said that was the number 1 seller. And again, you can never predict these things accurately. That's why you have to really just be able to adapt to what is happening at your business.
Right. We didn't know our flagship was going to be our flagship. But,
right. It just happened.
Right. And and I think everyone, if you're going to start a brewery, I think everyone needs to understand their capacity. I mean, whether that be what is your capacity production wise, but also just financially, like understanding like, okay, these are the goals and the key results that we need to have to be, quote unquote successful. Like if I need to sell 10 barrels of beer a month to be successful, which is like nothing, but if that's what it is, if you're on a 1 barrel system and you have a tiny little tap room, like what's your overhead? What is all of these things wrapped up plus, paying yourself to be a living human being.
Yeah.
You have to understand that before you jump head first into it. I mean, when I was consulting, I would work with people all the time who were like incredibly passionate and good at, the job. They were good at brewers and they had a cool brand or whatever, but sometimes it just wasn't received because you're in a business park somewhere off the beaten path or it's hard to have a business and, having good beer is arguably like only a third of running a successful brewery.
I agree.
You really need to have everything else, your ducks in a row, and you have to be able to sell it for it to work.
We even see that a lot at 12%, where a bunch of brands will come in and the beer is great, but it's just they price themselves out of the market.
Mm-hmm.
They use nothing but premium ingredients, and they're tying up our stainless for a very long amount of time, and then when we go to sell it at a price that both of us can stomach, it's a $14-15 4-pack for 12-ounce cans, and that brand inevitably just fails. So
it's funny because I just picked up a 4-pack the other day, and it was $24. And I was sitting there thinking to myself, that's like a quarter of what I could pay for a log of beer. What the hell would I want to keep doing this for? Other than, I got to review these things.
Yeah.
But that's crazy.
I feel like that's one of the things that, like, brewers, like, it's just never talked about a whole lot.
Yeah.
Where, where you just can't price yourself out of the market.
Right. And I mean, that comes with economy of scale as well.
Sure.
We're lucky in the sense that we are set up to do a decent amount of distribution and production for said distribution, which has also helped us, lower our prices in our tap room as well. Like, as we scale up and are able to buy bigger amounts of grain at one time or hops or whatever, you obviously get price breaks. But, we try to be really aggressive in our distribution pricing. And, we took a lower profit margin on our distribution beer. I mean, even further than we had originally intended, because we wanted to be super, marketable. Like our lager in a package store, our MSRP is $9.99.
Okay. Yeah.
A log of our lager, our 4.8% light lager, a 6-barrel of that to a bar is $49.99.
Okay. Wow.
It's less than $1 a beer.
Wow.
So
that's good to know.
But
do you think that the Connecticut scene is dying, or do you think it's weeding itself out? Meaning, there's certain breweries that are closing because they don't have what the market wants, and the really good beers are going to be the only ones that stick around and predominate the market?
I don't necessarily know if that's the case, but I mean, I would be remiss if we were going to sit here and say this wasn't a trend across the country. I mean, it's
absolutely.
It's not just Connecticut, but like I think we're going to reach this equilibrium point. I mean, everything kind of reaches a fill point, like a boiling point of sorts, and we're going to topple over. So we're gonna lose some people, and then we're going to have some new ones open too. I mean, it's just going to happen.
It's going to happen, yes.
Right, and there is going to be sort of this balancing of the scales where the people who put their heads down and get the work done that they need to get done survive, and some people don't. And it's not because of not trying either.
Right.
It's just
I also don't know if it's like necessarily a saturation point problem, because like just like it was like 8 years ago that we just hit the number of breweries in the U.S. that we had pre-prohibition, and you look at population numbers per capita pre-prohibition versus now. I don't think it's people say saturation point. I think it's a scale point. I think so many breweries these days come in thinking like, I'm going to be a 10-barrel brewery, I'm going to be a 20-barrel brewery, I'm going to be a 30-barrel brewery, but maybe all your market needs is a 1-barrel brewery.
Right.
You could maybe just, if you want to brew the beer yourself, thrive and be very successful at a 1-barrel standpoint. I don't necessarily know if it's saturation per se versus you're going too large too quick. Like,
I truly just thinking like that and comparing it to prohibition. Seriously, that's amazing.
It's just that it's like you look at the amount of people that we had in the U.S. then and how many breweries there were, and we just hit that number. It's like, well, they were there, surviving, thriving. But they might have only been brewing like 30 gallons in a batch. But that's why I think that's why instead of going in thinking you're going to be a big production brewery, maybe you will be the most successful local. Like, all the locals will go to you, but all you need to do is produce 1 to 3 barrels per turn. So I think, like, it's not necessarily like saturation. I think it's just, if you're going to open up a new brewery, if I had any advice, I would say start out a little smaller. You can always grow. Because also then you can learn how to operate your business, learn the costs. Whereas if you go in all in too quick, you might sit on so much inventory that beer is a perishable good. It can go bad quick, depending on your process. So you might be brewing 10 barrels of beer, like thinking that's going to be more efficient, but you might be dumping half of it.
Right. And I think that goes back to the set points and goals as well. I mean, if you start on a 1-barrel system, understand that in 6 months you want to be at your capacity. It's a conversation that we were having earlier. It's like, okay, we've hit our capacity. Now, how do we scale that up? Do we have the money to scale that up? Do we need to do this for 6 more months? And then we're able to do that. But also, being able to strike when the irons are hot.
I think to have any longevity in this industry, you just need to be exceptional in one way or another. Obviously, the beer should come first, but there's also the customer experience, in your tap room. Like like you're doing cold service. You need to focus in on something that you're going to be exceptional at, and you need to dial that in, listen to your customer feedback, and really just, focus in on that, dominate that. Exactly.
No one else is doing.
Be original, because you need, it's not enough anymore to just open up a brewery and be like, oh, people will come. You need to drive the customer there now.
And I was going to say, the customer experience now is huge. Like, you need, your beer can only take you so far. You do need to make it where, like you're doing a special of every week you're doing an event that will keep someone coming to you.
See, that's where your general managers are really vital. You guys are all brewers, but your general manager is making sure that the beer's there, and that the entertainment's there, and that the experience is there, and and God bless the general managers, because they got their their work cut out for them. I know you got a lot to say, and I can see it in you. I want to ask you this, because this might be able to help you get it out. 5 years from now, where would you like to see the Connecticut brewery scene? What would you like to see improve or, go away?
I think for me, anyhow, just having, lived in other parts of the country and worked in other parts of the country, I think a really interesting thing conceptually is that, like, Connecticut beer is not really thought of a lot. You hear Fox Farm in the conversation a lot. We're hearing Caius in the conversation a lot now. I mean,
a lot.
Like, doing fantastic stuff. And part of that comes with the beer competitions, things like that. Being a participant with other parts of the country. Like, I was just recently at WeldWorks in Greeley, Colorado, and we're gonna hopefully work out something together.
I've heard of them.
Just talking to other people, understanding that, like, this is not so much a competition as it is something that we're all kind of in together. Like, it was interesting for me when I moved here, because everybody was kind of like real to their chest right at first, but also, I mean, nobody knew me.
New England.
And so, like, I'm working on for next year, just so that we can be a larger part of the conversation in the beer competitions. I'm working on setting up consolidation points for beer submissions for the World Beer Cup and the GABF. I'm working on different things like that to hopefully, work with our guild to get everybody communicating more and working towards
competition there, Caius.
No, it's I agree with a lot of that. I agree that what I would like to see is we are all in this together.
Yes.
Like, it's, you see, like, Massachusetts, Rhode Island, Vermont all having these big things for their guild and the brewers professionally as a community, and we're all here to help each other.
Yeah.
But I think I would like to see, like, just that being able to be facilitated more in the future. Like, if another local brewery is having a problem or question, like, we're all in it together. We all have a very similar demographic of who's coming to our businesses. Like, we can all help each other. Yes, businesses do, like, compete, like, air quotes here, but we all are in it together. We all, like, share the passion for beer. We all want each other to succeed because we want everyone to be able to follow, like, their passion in making great beer.
Again, a whole different perspective here. So you guys, you have your single brewery. You're dealing with multiple breweries.
Yeah.
So what change would you like to see happen? I mean, if anybody has the most unique perspective, Justin, it's you.
Yeah.
I know, a lot of pressure. Sorry.
You know,
Without disrespecting the breweries that you're representing too.
Because it's not. I think. Between openings and closings of breweries, I think it'll be like a net zero. I think we're going to get some better breweries opening up and some lesser breweries kind of closing down. I don't think that, at least over the past year, we really haven't seen. I mean, there's been more brewery closings than openings, but we haven't really seen beer consumption go down. So I think just the lesser breweries and the more breweries that just don't have the better location or maybe the quality or the team or the staff to keep everything top notch. I just think that better breweries are going to have staying power.
Yeah.
And you know, the people that are just like, well, let's just open up a brewery in this warehouse and people will come. I think those types of breweries are going to kind of
come and
go away.
They're like fireworks.
Which is not, it's not the worst thing. I think the scene is still strong. Even in Connecticut.
Yes.
You still have a passionate group of brewers. I mean, all the brewers that I see, all these other breweries that are opening up, it's all the same guys that I knew when I first started in the industry.
It's this one and that one.
It's just they're opening up a new facility. But it's still
and I
the
definitely
same.
feel like at least lately, at least in the last 6 months, that Connecticut is starting to get recognized by some like out of state beer drinkers. It's like,
okay,
there's actually some great things happening in our state.
Hang on. I think, personally, Connecticut has been recognized for quite a while now.
I know, I just think more so than it has. I think, because now at least in like craft beer professional groups, at least from a professional standpoint, you're starting, like, in other beer drinking groups that I'm part of, like, you're starting to see a lot more comments of, try this in Connecticut. Like, I'm starting to see Connecticut pop up a lot more recently than I had when I first got into the craft and going to breweries myself, like, 8 years ago.
Hang on, I gotta ask you this: beer drinking groups, we just all get together and
no, just like people posting what they're drinking one day and like,
hey, if you know, you know.
Yeah. It's like daily drinking thread groups, like that kind of stuff. But I feel like lately I've been seeing a lot more of Connecticut show up, and I'm like, represent, like, there's great things happening here, like, so it's great beer being brewed here.
I would argue that we're all lurking in those too. Like, like I'm always like, what's going on here? You know?
And I see, I'm like, ooh, Connecticut got mentioned. Like,
like, oh, way to go.
What about these beers now that are coming out with THC? Would any of you consider? I mean, if you got the licensing, would you consider doing that?
Oh, if I had the licensing, I would do it.
Yeah.
I mean,
because there's what float is something.
Float House.
That's it. Yeah.
So I actually haven't met the owner, Gordon. I haven't had a chance to, but we communicated.
I've communicated
a little bit, but I mean, super cool branding. I mean, he's doing a really cool thing. No one else is doing it. He's
passionate.
He's super passionate. Yep. He was at just 12%, right?
He was at Stony Creek too.
Stony Creek and 12%. He's a good friend of mine.
Oh, is he?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. I was communicating with him. I was supposed to get him in here, but So Gordon, let's go. Come on.
He's 10 minutes away from me. I'm super stoked that he is. You know, he's doing something no one else is doing. He's taking craft beer and kind of making it into his own thing. So, like, basically what Justin had said earlier. He's
pushing the
Yeah,
envelope.
they were just on the Craft Beer and Brewing Magazine podcast.
Oh, really?
Too. Yeah,
Okay,
had
cool.
an episode on that too, which is a really good episode.
Come on, Gordon. But so
And that's what I mean. Stay nimble too. You know,
There you go.
never reject anything. You know, if that really starts to take off, you know, maybe that's where False Hope is going.
well, and that's a real big.
You never know.
It's a real big Gen Z thing too. You know, they really like the THC more than they like the alcohol. So, but I also noticed that Gen Z they like experience. They like to experience new things, and that's what the cultures with them is swerved towards. So if you have a brewery, and to draw them in, you have to have something new and experiential. Any ideas of what Connecticut breweries could do to bring that lost generation into their breweries?
Well, I mean, I think just what we had kind of said before, the having cool events, but also, you know, understanding that, like, it's more about creating a community than it is like making a bunch of money on the day of the event.
Oh, absolutely.
We had spoke about Dead Language earlier.
Mm-hmm.
They do some of the like funniest, like coolest events. They had like a Shrek rave. Like yeah, like Chris and Kyle, they're super down for whatever. Like I went
had
to
an English breakfast event, and I was out of town that weekend. I was so sad I couldn't go to it because I'm like, give me some like British IPA and some like English breakfast.
Right, yeah.
They had a Japanese metal band come and play. They had like a little metal show, and like we do metal shows, but like I went to it. And I was like, this is so fun. Like it's just, you know, just understanding like. Do a little bit of something for everybody and being able to
I also think it's like, don't be afraid to put your brand out there with events and things going on. Like, try it. It might really stick. Like, you never know what's going to stick with your community and customer base, but there's no, if it doesn't work, you can just pivot and try a different event. Like, I think also one thing, like, don't be so focused on like what you're going to make, how much money you're going to make. Like, you might come out with like a weird event, like a Shrek rave, but it does really well. And like you get known for something like that. Yeah. But then again, it builds that sense of community. And like that also is a huge factor in keeping your business successful.
Yeah. And like, I mean, we do like a bunch of metal punk stuff, but like, you know, we had a Beatles fest.
Oh yeah.
And it was super successful.
Yeah.
Like, it's just being able to work with everybody that you have, I think, is huge.
Yeah, keep the diversity going. So before we close out, I just want to say that to me, this is what makes the Connecticut brew scene so amazing, and I really believe it is an amazing experience to be able to experience the Connecticut breweries. It's not about the hype. It's not about the medals. It's about good people who are willing to follow a passion and brew the beer that they love, and that falls on you guys. And I want to just say thank you for following your passions, guys, because all three of you, wow, amazing beers, guys, amazing beers. And I also want to thank the people who support these local breweries. You know, you're following a passion that you love these things, and you're going to go out and buy it, and you're going to experience these guys, what they do, and what hard work they put into this. So thank you for them. Guys, this has been fantastic. I really appreciate it. All the beers today were fantastic, and the conversation, wonderful. Thank you for coming out.
Thank you. Yeah, thanks for having us. And like, also just thank all the customers out there. Like, without you guys, we wouldn't be able to follow our passion. Like, like you guys like allow us to be able to do what we love. So
beautiful.